Are you tired of staying at school late? Are you tired of lugging bags and bags of lesson plans and papers home to grade? Then you return to work completely exhausted the next day? You know you're not alone. But what if I told you that there was a way for you to get it all done within the school day? That there was a way for you to do it without compromising your family and your personal time? That's what we're going to talk about today. How teachers can lesson plan faster without taking work home and beat decision fatigue and save time, which means you're going to be being productive. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention in school, and that is decision fatigue. Fatigue. We make so many decisions each day as an educator until our little minds are running rampant. And so we want to make a way for us to stop having to make so many decisions. We want to know what strategies we can use. Should we reteach? Should we move on? How do we differentiate instructions? What do I need to do for little Johnny? How do I get a little T to stop running all over my room and hitting on people? What can we do? We want some strategies that are going to help us save time, save energy, and keep us from losing our mind. So how do we cope, first of all, with decision fatigue, because we're getting wore down making all these decisions every day. First, we're going to create a weekly planning routine. We are going to create a boring, consistent routine that we're going to use each week after week after week after week. Consistency. Yes, it's boring. You better believe it's boring, but it's going to save your life. It's going to save your sanity, and that's what you're going to do. So you want to plan out your week. Maybe Monday you introduce a concept. Maybe on Tuesday you practice and have small group work. On Wednesdays, maybe you have application exercise. Or for me, like I used to do themes. I had Wednesday was my writing day. Thursday was my testing day. Friday was the day in which I did reflection or had my students go back and we did something very simple. And on those testing days or those days of reflection, that gave me time in which to get the papers graded from the testing, which I gave on Thursday. But now we know we have things like Google Classroom and all these other technological accessories that can help us grade those papers faster. So we're not going to kick against the pricks. We're going to use those things to help us get the papers graded, help save us time to do all the things we need to do. We are going to also use instructional templates. Yes, templates. Just like Canva have templates. And I'm going to take a pause right here to remind you that Canva does have a free account for teachers that you can use. There are a lot of templates on there for you. So stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Use some of those templates. We're going to use those templates for our warm-ups. We're going to use those templates for our mini lessons. We're going to use those templates for our guided practice, independent practice, and we're going to use them to make our exit tickets. We're going to make life simple for ourselves. We're not going to keep reinventing the wheel, as I said earlier. And also, I want to remind you that there are places like Teachers Pay Teachers in which we can get pre-made lesson plans. You don't have to suffer. Stop suffering. Stop feeling like if you don't make it yourself, it's like cooking from scratch. If you don't cook from scratch, it's not homemade. Or if you buy some ingredients, if you're the ingredients from the store, then it's not homemade. It's homemade, baby. You made it at your house. It's homemade. I'm not telling you to copy everything, but please feel free. As teachers, we have enough to do. Use the resources that are available to you. Limit your choices. Too many choices called mental fatigue. Instead, I can do a game, a worksheet, a group work, a project. Instead, pick 3 strategies you're going to reuse routinely over and over again. If you notice those people that do meal planning, they'll plan their meals out. They'll have things like meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday. I forgot what they do on Wednesdays. But anyway, there's a theme that runs throughout what they're doing, and you want to stick to a theme. When you do these choices, limit your choices. I was listening to Whitney Bounds on Tried and True Mom Jobs. I took a workshop of hers on YouTube, and she talked about, I think it's Steve Jobs. He wears a black shirt every day. And he says he does this because it prevents having to make a decision on what to wear. It saves time, it saves energy. And so we want to do things that are going to save time and save energy. I have a cousin who teaches school. Also, I have a couple cousins who teach school. But one of them used to tell me years ago, she said, I wear black pants to work. And I was like, what? She said, I wear black pants. I wear black pants every day. She had black, and I think occasionally she rotate them out with like a navy. And every blue moon she might wear like an ivory or white color. But she wore black pants every day, and she would change her top out because she said it saved her time. She just reached in the closet, grabbed a pair of black pants, put them on, and went to work. She didn't have to think about what she was going to be wearing. I know a successful businessman also says he bought the same pair of socks. All of his socks were black. He just got a drawer full of black socks. He didn't have to try to match anything. He just grabbed some black socks and went to work. We have to do what's going to make things easy for us. By limiting our decisions, it's helping to keep us from being so fatigued. We want to also consider batching our decisions. Instead of planning one lesson at a time, we might want to plan in chunks. I like to do time blocking. I shared that on another video where I block out a certain amount of time to do this, and then I move on to the next activity, and then I have a certain amount of time to do that. So if I'm doing, just sort of like if you do at your school and you're on a block schedule, you may have reading the first block, and the second block you may have math, and the next block may be science and social studies. Well, I have to do what I'm doing the same way. If I'm blogging, I have to block out a set amount of time to do blogging, and then I may have to block out a set amount of time to record videos and block out a set amount of time to edit the video. Well, we have to look at our lives and decisions we're making at school in the same way. We might select our material that we're going to be using for our lesson all at one time. Put everything together during that particular block of time. Block out the amount of time which we're doing our lessons, and block out the amount of time which we're doing our prep, so things run faster and smoother. We want to reuse what is already working. Set it over and over again. Let's not keep trying to reinvent the wheel. Use what's working. Reuse those lesson plans. You have to tweak them to fit today's students. But if you've been in education as long as I have, I promise you, you got a lesson plan. You have a lesson plan somewhere that fits just what you have to do for this week or the next week. And if at all possible, when you're doing your lesson plan, if you can do 2 or 3 weeks at a time, fantastic. You know, as long as they're not these really detailed, complicated things, know what you're going to do and do them. Block that time out. So how do you lesson plan during school hours only? That's the big question. Well, I want to know, how do we do it when our time is constantly interrupted with all of the things, the extra things that we have to do, dealing with student behavior, dealing with parents, dealing with having a lot of meetings during your planning time, dealing with having to go to the office and see what they need in the office and what's going on with a child. So how do we get this? We are going to make sure we are planning during those little small pockets of time which we have. And I'm talking about those 10 minutes after the students, 5 minutes before a meeting, during transition time. We are thinking about and doing the things in which we need to do to get prepared for our lessons. It doesn't take so much time out away from us and our mental health. We don't take those papers home. We're making sure we grade them at school during those little key moments in which we have a break. We're going to make sure that we decide what is most important. You have to know what's important. You have to prioritize. As a nurse, because I often share, I'm also a nurse, we have to do what they call triage. When you come to the hospital, you get triage. Those that are sickest are going to get seen first. So we have to figure out what's most important. We have to prioritize what is the most important thing that we're doing. We make sure we know what our objective is first. We make sure we know what our outcome is first. What do we want to happen? What's the goal of this lesson? Where are we trying to go with it? What are we doing? Then we plan our activities and our assessment. Now, I was taught at one time to plan backwards. Sort of like when you live in the end, as they say, in secular communities, you live in the end. Well, with teaching, you want to know what you're assessing. That's why, for me, I have to know what my objective is first. I can't just make the assessment and then go from there. I have to know what my goal is for my students. We have to know what our goal for our students is, and then we work from that point. At the end, I like to make my assessment to see if they have mastered the skill in which I taught. Because I'm a believer in practice, 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 practice. Do it over and over and over again until you can do it in your sleep. Set a hard stop time. If you're working or grading papers in the evening while the kids are out going to the bus, because where I work at the present, I have a student. And so some of the teachers are still left in the building while the students are loading the bus. So that gives them time to clean up the classroom, grade a few papers. For me, I don't get that opportunity. But if that's your time, have a hard stop time. Know when you're going to stop. And that time is definitely when your contract says you stop, and not those hours afterwards. If you're going to stay over, make sure you don't go past 10 minutes. And that's the time in which you're cleaning your room or doing whatever preparations it is that you're doing. But that's why I say you need to have some systems in place. You make sure you have a stop. And if you are like me and you get distracted, sometimes you may need to set a timer on your clock, but make sure you know when that hard stop is. Make sure you also have a mindset shift. That is important. You don't have to have it perfect. Your lessons plans don't have to be perfect. You spend all this time making the perfect lesson plans. And do they go off the way you planned them? A lot of times, no. Why are you putting all of this in the planning part and not in the implementing part? Do your lesson plans, but make sure you implement more than you spend all that time putting them together. So this is what I want to tell you today. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, stuck, frustrated, in need of a mental health day, and do take those if you need them, then what you need to do is you need to get away from your classroom some. You deserve a life away from school. A lot of teachers don't know this, don't realize it, but you deserve a life away from school. Do not spend your whole time thinking school is your whole life. It's not. Your family needs you. Your spouse or partner, significant other, whatever it is, they need you. If you are affiliated with the church or some other organization, whatever it is, they need you. That book that you've been planning to read, it needs you. That book that you were going to write, it needs you. Your house needs you to clean it. So we're not going to give school our all and all, because it's not our all and all. You have a life away from school. So you're going to make sure that you find a happy medium between school and what you are doing. You may have to start small. Pick 1 or 2 strategies from this video that will work for you. Make sure you tell me in the comments which one you are going to use. Use it, and be sure that you learn how to get your lesson plan done without dragging all those papers home with you. True story. I used to be so guilty of lugging all those papers home to grade. I would put them in my car, and a lot of times they would just ride back and forth in my car, and I have to drag them all back out when I got back to work, because I never took them out of the car, because I was too tired to grade them when I got home, because I gave 110 at school. I left it all on the field. Please don't let you be a victim of that. Don't do it. You are important, just like your job is. You are important. Lesson plan, smarter, not harder.